working with the children, because he visited India in about, I think, 12 or 13 years ago. And his idea was to start some mindfulness programs in schools. So there is a foundation called Ahimsa Foundation, and they took him around to several schools. And I was fortunate to be a part of the entourage and learn with this very gracious person and the simple techniques that he taught, because we were young, all young in the sense that he was mainly orienting the things towards younger children. So he was mainly doing that. So I thought today maybe we can begin the session with a little meditation. Would that be okay, Vijeta? She's our uh, co-host in some sense. So it was her initiative to have this meeting today, and I'm so happy that we are so many of us together. Is my voice quality okay?
Perfect for me.
Yes, yes.
Perfect. Okay. So now may I request others to switch off their microphones so that the background noise is less, mute themselves for the time being. And what Thich Nhat Hanh told us, he asked us to bring a raisin to the classroom. So do you have it like this? Just a small piece of, or any fruit, a fiston, you have anything to eat? Just a piece of bread or something, or a biscuit in the pocket, or a toffee, chocolate, something? Okay. So just have a visualization, and I'm sorry if the message didn't reach you ahead, but what we are trying to do, I'm sure you will understand because you are in a rural setting. And so what we are going to do is that we are going to have this little piece of raisin with us. And we have to start looking at it and just see how it feels and look at it. It's just one single piece of raisin, and just see or just feel it, how it appears, how it feels in the hands. Now, how has it arrived here, or for that matter, any fruit, how does it arrive, let's say, in my hands? So if we really trace back the story of this, and that's what Thich Nhat Hanh encouraged us that day to do. For me, sitting in the Himalaya, this raisin is perhaps grown in somewhere in Maharashtra, in Nasik, or near about. And how has it grown there? Somebody must have planted it, somebody must have planted the vine, and maybe just a seed, and then the seed may have come into a seedling, and then the seedling may have been transplanted again. And then somebody must have watered, because the seed and the seedlings, small vines, they need watering. They are like younger, tender children, they need a lot of support, a lot of nourishment. And so somebody must have done that for this to grow. Now, as in the rural area, especially in my place and many, if there are goats hanging out, and I don't know about Uganda, maybe near there also, then they will nibble on anything which is growing, So now somebody needs to protect it. So you go and get a bamboo or a piece of some iron jali, and then you fix it, and that's an effort to be able to protect it or watch and ward. So all that effort. And then the forces of nature, the nourishment of the sun, the soil itself, the water, all the other elements that go into making the body of the plant. And so that's how he was trying to narrate to us that, see, this is how a fruit kind of gets to us. And then the fruit grows. Means, of course, you have to tender it for 5-6 years before the plant can take care of it, before the plant can get on with the fruiting time. And then, of course, you have to protect it a little bit. Of course, birds will also eat, but then also you also have to protect for us to eat. So then somebody is chasing away the birds, and somebody is trying to protect it. And then, of course, when there are enough raisins or grapes, then they have to be harvested. And now you can see that when we even wash the grapes at home, they are very tender. And so very tender. And so we have to be very delicately handle them. Now you imagine so many grapes have to be harvested so very carefully, very tenderly, and then they have to be dried. Now, of course, the technology is changing for drying, but earlier people would sun dry a lot of things, even amla and other things, people would just sun dry. Now, if you dry it in the sun, you have to protect it from the dust, and you have to then again protect it from the scavenging of the goats and other creatures, those who are hanging out. So now, and then of course, if it is going to rain, then you again have to put the thing inside, make space for it. The dried grapes will take a while to dry, and then bring it out again. Now, all that effort is going on, and then you will put it in some baskets so that it doesn't get damaged, the dried, and then it will be taken to somebody locally who will then put it in a larger container, and then you will have to then just a second, I might be taking some. So then, and that's how it is going on, then how many hands and how much care and how many forces of nature then it has reached me. And then Thich Nhat Hanh posed a very interesting question to all of us, that can we express our gratitude to all those people and to all those forces of nature and to all of them who have nurtured this right from the beginning and have reached it to us while we enjoy eating this, and we are not yet enjoying eating it. So maybe I will pause for half a minute or so and request you all, because you are all in different locations, to see how you think it's coming to us. So now that we know that how is it coming to us from, so can we now look at it once more and see that it's not that how it has reached us. And then he started, Thich Nhat Hanh started something more. May I request everybody to please mute. Himadri, could you please mute yourself? Could you please mute? Himadri, could you please mute? Oh.
Just can you right click on her?
Yeah. I have. Thank you. Sorry about this. So now, then he said to us one more thing, that this phrasing has a lot of cells. Just like everything, we know that all plants and all animals are made of cells, just very tiny. What we look into the often into the microscope and even otherwise, but it does have. And each of those cells has the elements of the earth, if you actually look at it, because then when we eat it, it's very sweet. So maybe each of those cells has some sweetness in it, and that's how it's coming there. And then he said that, okay, my body is also made up of cells. And then these cells of this resin are going to be a part of my cells. And then wherever I'm tasting it, maybe beginning with the mouth, the tongue, so can we now, when we eat this, relish each and every cell of this resin and feel how they are going to become a part of each and every cell of my body. So we will now spend a minute in trying to relish this resin and see and say that if we can somehow feel that each and every cell of this, wherever the sugar is in this resin, we are enjoying. So let's spend a minute more and enjoy. Happy eating. So means when we ate this so when we ate this there, does any of you feel any difference today in eating a raisin versus whole our life? We have been eating things. Does anyone wants to say anything?
Tasted sweeter than usual. For the first time, I think noticed the taste.
Thank you.
I think I could feel it different parts, the upper skin and the inside skin, and definitely sweeter and tastier than ever.
For me, it was like visualizing the whole process behind which otherwise gets unnoticed.
It was not just eating. It was opening a process of awareness and integration. That whatever is being chewed in my mouth is me only. There is absolutely no difference.
Well, I was trying to, I'm sorry. Okay, I'll go ahead. So while I was trying to eat it, so I took my time, I kept on rolling it inside my mouth for a very, very long time. So I could feel the surface, I could feel the roughness and the wrinkles on the skin. And then for some time, I could not taste anything for a very long time because I had not chewed into it. I had not take a bite into it. So the sugars did not come out. The rust did not come out. So while I was rolling it inside my mouth, I was rather thinking of, in a flash, I could go back, trace back till the source as we just walked the journey together. But at the same time, another thought which was coming, probably this is also life is this, the life as is, this is also quite similar to our life. When we see things on from the top, they are very wrinkled, rough, and maybe sometimes there's no taste as well. And if it was me, and I have dried in the sun for a very long time, I've gone through so much wherever I am now with the life and ups and downs, seasons, but I may look haggard, I may look tasteless, but the moment I go through another process of maybe tearing it down bit by bit, separating the fibers of it, then the rust comes out, then my own sweetness comes out. So there were two things parallelly going in my mind while I was.
Thank you, Aditi. And I think Lizzy wanted to say something, and then we should try to take the next agenda because there is something more that we want to talk about today.
Yeah, thanks. I'll just take a real quick minute. But I just wanted, during doing this exercise, I really think about the exchange that's happening. And I think I've heard a few audience members say this, of how the piece of fruit is sort of becoming me as I put it in my mouth. There's this whole exchange, and it kind of, the form kind of blends together and it becomes me. And I just really appreciate being mindful of that process.
Okay, so see, there is this thing about the, I'll just say a sentence and then we'll move. So what is it that we are trying to, I mean, this, by the way, this exercise children love. First of all, it's raising, it's sweet. And he did it with, I think there were 250 children in that big ground in Nehru Memorial Center in Delhi. And when I did it with only a group of, I think, 65 children, but pin drop silence when children are having this resin, and they close their eyes, and they can see the expression of how much attachment is there with this one piece of resin, and they're thinking of the story. And so I think there are many such simple things that Thich Nhat Hanh told us. For example, maybe we could finish it with a little rhyme, because if we are saying that, so will you please recite after me? Maybe, huh? And even if I can't hear, you can, or if you want to unmute, it will be lovely. But let's see. And Fiston, are you there? Okay.
Yes,
He's
boss, I'm
joining
there.
from Uganda, so I'm concerned. Okay, so now, fingers in the air.
Fingers in the
air. Silence everywhere.
silence.
Everywhere. As I join my hand.
As I join my
hands
together in a prayer.
together in a prayer.
Earth who gives to
forth and gives to
us his food,
it's
Us
his
his
food,
sun that makes it
sun that
sun
makes
that makes
it
it
ripe and good.
rise and good.
Dearest earth,
Here is
dearest
a
earth,
earth,
dearest sun,
here is the
dearest
sun.
sun,
love and thanks to all you have done.
Love
Love and
love
thanks
and
to
thanks
all you
to
have
all you
done.
have
So
done.
this is some of the things, that Thich Nhat Hanh taught. And then he had a very beautiful another rhyme, about firm as a mountain, flowing like a river, and blooming like a flower. So there is so much that we got, out of him and his just gracious presence and thing. And children were enjoying it. Very often we feel that mindfulness, oh, children cannot be calmed down and this and that. But I think my fears have been taken away by working so many years with the youth and the children. I think they are a little bit more sensitive, and if we can start a little early, and it is so we need to work on ourselves as adults. And I would now like to invite Lizzy. She has joined us very early in the morning, so she's joining us from Colorado, US. As a partner with the Western State University. We are doing this course together. So welcome, Lizzy, and maybe you would like to give a rundown on the course, somewhat the overview.
Yeah, thanks, Ajay, for that introduction. I apologize for being a few minutes late. Like you said, it's pretty early for me over here. But I'm glad everybody is enjoying so far, and thank you for facilitating that activity. We really developed the content of this course together, thinking about a variety of different aspects, but mainly what teachers really are. We were focusing on what teachers and potentially parents were really struggling with the most, and what the challenges were for teaching primary school children. And what we were talking about a lot are these issues with classroom management or conduct behaviors, and how to strengthen teachers' abilities to or capacity for teaching through those issues and responding effectively to them, to not only improve the child's well-being, but hopefully to improve things like learning comprehension in the classroom. And of course, when I say classroom, I know many of you are likely parents of children and may not be teaching in the classroom. So we're really thinking about this broadly in terms of teaching primary school children, rather than whether or not you're in a professional learning environment or a classroom teacher. And so a few of the principles that the Foundation for the Contemplation of Nature is really guided by are these ideas that having a connection to nature can really bring out lots of health benefits for people. And it's really comprehensively or holistically about a person's internal well-being, not just their physical health. And so providing these opportunities to create avenues for a deeper connection with nature for both children and adults can really strengthen our ability to take on challenges, to be resilient through the ups and downs of life. And I think that in these this era of the pandemic, these topics are especially relevant today, as more and more kids are dealing with anxiety, depression, being overwhelmed with what's going on in the world, and not quite knowing how to navigate through all of the changes that are happening. I think these concepts of bringing mindfulness and nature appreciation into standard classroom learning is really more relevant today than anything. And again, I apologize for saying standard classroom learning. I should really say something like, just standard teaching activities, or whatever the teaching activities that you are conducting with your children. And so we developed this course to be taught, for the curriculum materials to be reviewed over 3 months. And so each month would follow sort of a section theme. And the modules are created so that you don't necessarily need to take one after the other. I think the second section is more of an could be considered more of the optional section, for specifically for parents or teachers that are interested in learning about conduct behavior disorders. So that second section is really focused on things like common behavioral disorders, attention deficit disorder, and how to restore focus in children. It deals with trauma-based responses, and how to respond to things like fear and panic responses. And then there's also a week on building self-esteem and how children's identities are formed through all of these different layers that happen to them. And then but the foundational section, the first section is really the foundational section, and we believe that you should really take that section before moving on to the other sections. And so that's sort of more of the required one if you want to go on and take more than one module. And the first section is really just building your knowledge in the foundations of mindfulness and nature appreciation topics. And in that month, we review the science of mindfulness, how studies have proven the effectiveness and benefits of it, and also the science of ecotherapy and how there are more and more studies being accumulated that show the healthful benefits and emotional well-being benefits of being in nature, how our human psyche really responds to being in nature. And then it also goes into things like nonviolent communication and how to respond with a soft tone with children. It deals with compassionate leadership skills. And then it also, there's a week that questions the built environment a bit, and how our built structures around us and our built environment affects our psyche, and what that might how that might impact a child's psyche. And then the very last section is more of sort of an integrated or applied skills with your children, and it goes into sort of that broad concept of fostering responsible global citizens. So there's a section there that deals with peer-to-peer relationships and how social comparison affects self-esteem and how children relate to each other, kind of trying to break down barriers between classes, race, gender, things like that might create barriers to peer relationships. And then it also considers our the broader concepts of things like our interdependence in the community, finding our place, navigating our place in the community, and how we build those strong relationships through interdependence with each other. It also deals with the interconnectedness of all things, exploring sort of nature and the universe and how that shows us how things are interconnected, and how if we examine nature, we can see all of the different layers that contribute. And so I think that we've really created this sort of beautiful process of exploring all of the different layers that go into a child's development, and then hopefully providing you all with tools and opportunities to integrate concepts of mindfulness, nature, and inner resiliency into your learning activities with your children. And the idea behind all of this is that not only are you helping your children be mindfully aware of what's going on in them internally, and potentially developing their skills and being able to regulate their own emotions, but we want to fortify all of you, all of the adults that are taking the course, with tools that will strengthen your own inner practice and hopefully build up your own capacity for inner resiliency, so that you can be more compassionate with disruptive behaviors in your children, that you can understand more of the roots of where those behaviors might be coming from, and learn to be a little bit more patient and compassionate with what might be really going on with the children you're working with, and just to build up your own ability to, again, regulate your own emotions, have patience and compassion for others, and developed your capacity for being mindfully aware of how you're interacting, so that you can really teach most effectively and really just behave as human beings in the world more towards your values and most effectively with others. So hopefully we've created some activities and put together some learning resources and reflection activities and things like that will help you process a lot of these concepts and integrate them into your thinking processes and things like that. We are completely open for questions and comments along the way. And I just hope that you get a lot of value out of the resources that we've put together. But the point of this co-creators course, it's really our first sort of pilot program through developing this holistic resiliency concept. And we're really in the process of refining this curriculum so that it will be most easily accessible and beneficial to a diverse range of audiences. And so we're looking for your feedback on how these activities and reading resources apply to you, what might make them more valuable or beneficial, if you see any modifications that opportunities for alterations or things like that, or if you know of any activities or reading resources of your own that you think should be considered for the curriculum, we're open to those things too. So this is sort of a learning together and refining process that we're sharing together, and I really hope that we can just keep interacting with each other and that you'll stay engaged through the course. I know that not everyone has signed up here today, but if you do decide to join, we are happy to have you. So I will pass it back to Ajay. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Lizzy. I think we should open it up for questions and if there are any concerns regarding the course. But one or two queries that I have received, and maybe you can respond to that already, is some people are concerned that what time of the day will they have to devote, because some are like full time into some profession or another. So I think it wasn't very. So could you please say that within a week, how much time would they have to devote in what? And then is it at their own pace? And then how will we set up the common meetings when we do with consensus of timing, etc.? Could you please elaborate a bit on that?
Yeah, thanks so much. This was definitely a question that came up a few times as people were inquiring about the co-creators course. And I just want to make it clear that we are not conducting lectures through this course. So this is sort of an online only, independently followed course. I did set up a Facebook group page so that your peers and classmates, we can engage in discussion together about the weekly topics. And each week, the curriculum packet will have a topic, a prompt, or a question to use for class discussion on the Facebook page. So feel free to engage with your classmates there and post relevant articles or other topics that you've come across along the way as you're researching these topics and exploring more. So as I said, the weekly curriculums will be emailed to participants on a weekly basis. They'll go out on Sundays. You can review these activities at your leisure. We are accepting feedback on them through July 31st. However, I strongly suggest that you sort of follow the weeks as we go along. It's okay if you don't read all of the resources or do all of the activities in a week, but try to at least get into the week's topics and start exploring a little bit so that you can follow along with your classmates and stay engaged throughout the course. And then, as I said, if you want to explore more at the end of, I don't want to say the end of the course since we're accepting feedback through the summer, but at the end of when we are distributing the curriculums, there'll still be a few months to go back and explore those topics that you want to get deeper into. And any time along the way, please feel free to email Ajay or I, and we can engage with you that way. But we also wanted to ensure that you got a few opportunities to engage with your classmates, meet each other. We don't want you to feel like you're just doing this in a bubble and you don't know what else is going on out there in the universe. And so we do want to provide a few virtual meet and greet opportunities with your classmates. And so I was going to this week most likely send out a doodle poll to try to schedule an appropriate time to do a Zoom call that would meet the needs of most people, that whatever timing that is. And what I'm envisioning, since many of us are calling in from different time zones, that we might schedule 2 or 3 different introductory meetings in order to meet all of you virtually so we can see your faces and conduct a mindfulness activity together. And then throughout the course, we'll send out another poll to schedule another call at some point in the middle, probably something like March or April along the way, and check in with everybody. Ajay might lead us in a 25-minute meditation with the contemplation of nature. We can talk about how our mindfulness practices are coming along, and any challenges that you're facing in accessing the materials or facilitating activities or anything like that. If you have any questions, these are great times to bring those up, but we also, again, will respond to emails promptly as we can. I try to do my best to respond to emails within 48 hours. So if you haven't heard from me in 2 days, send me another email and say, hey, did you see that email before? I'll try to really get to you promptly so you're not wondering what's going on. And then we also want to have a final Zoom call towards the end, probably June or July, where we can all, again, come together one more time, see each other, talk about how the class went, how it went for you, and just sort of say farewell to each other. And then we also want to invite any course participants to come to an in-person retreat that we're developing also. It will be a 4-day in-person sort of conference at the Brochure Himalayan Center in Majapahit, India, where Ajay is the co-founder there. And we will facilitate group mindfulness activities. We'll do nature appreciation, connecting with nature together. We can explore scenarios with teaching students with these concepts, and we can just sort of debrief and explore lots of different aspects of this course together. And I think that that would also be a great opportunity for classmates to network with each other, get to know each other in person, and just really strengthen our relational bonds with each other. And so yeah, we really wanted to make sure that there were opportunities that we could all engage with each other, even though we really think that it's best to facilitate this course independently so that you all are not overwhelmed with obligations or other commitments and whatnot, and that you can explore these activities and resources when it's convenient for you. And we created the activities so that hopefully you can easily integrate them into the activities that you already do with your children or students. And we're hoping that the time commitment per week for the standard course, if you follow the curriculums weekly and sort of complete everything in a timely manner, that it would be about like between 5 and 7 hours of commitment for the enrollees for this co-creators course. It might be up to 10 hours or so for the standard course, but you all aren't turning in the regular assignments. You're just giving feedback on the materials as you apply them. So some of the homework assignments are sort of reduced for this co-creators course. But we're still thinking that about 7 hours would be a good amount of time to get through and apply the activities. And again, some of that time frame, some of those hours, hopefully would be integrated into the activities that you're already doing with students. So this wouldn't be an additional burden. There would probably be about 5 hours that are actually would be a commitment for you outside of whatever your normal activities are with students. We tried to make it as least amount of a burden for, especially if we have professional teachers coming in, and we know that all of you have lots of things going on in your life. So we wanted to make this pretty easy to access and not a burden to apply.
So please, if any of you have any queries, you may ask, and then I'll park one query already, and that could be related to the certification with the Western. And I'll try to explain. We have been working for over 5 years with, and we already run a 3-credit semester course with the Western State University in Colorado. And that is for university students. So then at the same time, the university has a teachers training institute, which means, you know, like where the teachers are trained. And so with the teachers training institute, we planned this course to be registered, and it's already registered there. Actually, the website link already works for the teacher training institute. And what they have said is that they will be able to give 2 credit hours, but that's not applicable to us, any of us, unless we are in US, you know, and that makes the course very expensive, because then the university credit hours are charged accordingly, but that's a possibility. So it is a 2-credit course in the university, those who wish to apply. But for us, we said that, okay, can we get a certification of completion? Because then for many teachers, for many facilitators, and for many adults, it's helpful, you know, because we then want to use this skill set and then also make a part of our career growth. So the university has very graciously, considering our relationships, long-term relationships with them, accepted that they will allow us to register for free. So when you go to the website link, it will ask you for $25, but you don't have to pay in this course. You can just register for free. You will still get registered, and you will get a mail from the university confirming your registration. Now, at the end of the course, when we complete all the 3 modules, and those of us who wish to have a certification, they only need to register. Those of us who wish to have a certification, we will then work out with the university to be able to send us the certificates at a common address or at a few common addresses. And that will reduce our $25 commitment as well. And we are working with the university so that it's not individually have to be paid. Because in Indian rupees, it is still a lot of amount, and we are working on it, and it will be done. Thanks to Lizzy and all the other people, you know, because Machkhali, Ganesan, where they are based, are also sister cities. So we can influence some pressure also. So with the sister cities, you know, means the last time when we were on this call, the mayor of the city was also attending. So I think it's not such a big deal. And the dean of the school was also there. So please feel free to register. We encourage you to register, those of you who would like to get a certification. And be assured that this $25 will be reduced to something like 500, 700 rupees, and it won't be like 2,000 rupees, which the $25 convert to. So I think that's how we see it. And so I really encourage teachers to make use of this opportunity, which is in this introductory course per se. Then later on, when the proper credit course starts to happen from the fall semester of this year in the university, then we may or may not have this opportunity of waiving the fee of $25. So it's an introductory thing, and I wanted to inform you all about it.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's I just wanted to say that for the standard course, there will likely be less discounts that we'll be able to give out, if at all. But for this pilot program, for the co-creators course, it's looking very hopeful that Western will give us a small stipend for scholarships. So if there are people who want to receive the certificate of completion but can't afford the $25, we can probably reduce that by half, or maybe even more for somebody who is financially limited. And then also I wanted to say that for this co-creators course, this pilot program, this will be the only certificate of completion that says holistic resiliency co-creators. So once we launch the program in the fall, it will become the standard course, and your certificate of completion will say completed the holistic resiliency course. But this one is the only one that will say that you are a co-creator of the holistic resiliency course. So I think that's something a little bit noteworthy to say. And I really appreciate all of for all of you who have enrolled. I'm really excited about seeing your contributions and appreciate your enthusiasm for this course. Thank you.
And I would, one person has raised the hand, and Anjana, I'll just come back to you. I specifically want to request with the overseas participants, especially Fatima, Murad. Fatima is calling from Morocco, and Murad and Kingston are calling from, Fiston are calling from Africa. So if they have any questions, they are welcome to raise also. They have been very quiet. Yes, Fatima? Okay, thanks for, okay, so Fatima says thumbs up, so it means that everything is going well, and Fiston is giving a clap, so I think he's fine too. And Murad, you have
It's very clear. It's very clear.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. And thank you, Chakradharji, for enabling us to invite them all. And now, Anjana, yes, you want to say something?
Yeah. So a quick update, I tried to register on the link shared in Lizzy's email on the university website, and it only listed American states, so I was not able, and there was no option of others. So I had to just to fill up the form successfully, I had to randomly pick up some US state with some random zip code. So I thought to update Lizzy on the same, though it allowed me to submit the form.
Nageshwari?
Yeah, thanks for bringing that to my attention. That's an interesting little technical difficulty. I can bring that up with Kirky at the Extended Studies Institute, and we'll see if there's something we can do about that. But I think that what you did, that's probably the best for now, is just register and we'll work out the kinks as we go along. So thank you for bringing that to my attention.
Nageshwari also registered. What did that? And she also, Nageshwari, could you say if there is any solution you got?
No, I am also cleared everything, so I don't have any queries.
Okay. Okay, she also registered the same site, so I think it worked, and Krishnamurti ji also. So I think it is working, and then this US state bit we can figure out, Lizzy. Thank you. And anyone else? Aditi ji, you want to say something?
Yeah. So shall we wait for one confirmation from you and to guide us? Then we'll register accordingly after for the people who have not registered so far. So we shall wait for a couple of days. So Lizzy, would you let us know when to register and how to go about it then?
Oh, you mean at the site? At
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Lizzy,
So through Western, you can register at any time, and we're actually only requiring that if you would like the certificate of completion, that you register through Western. If you don't care about receiving the certificate of completion, you don't need to register through Western. But I would say just go ahead and register using, pick a random US state to say that you're from, and just go ahead and register. You don't have to wait for confirmation for me. It might take a little while to figure out a solution about that drop-down menu. And it's probably going to have to come from like an IT person or something that we need to schedule an appointment for. So go ahead and register, and then I'll let you know if we find a solution for that. Thanks.
Right. Secondly, I wanted to ask, I know it is now, it's quite clear that it's a kind of self-paced module and the course to go about it, but though you are creating some platforms for us to get together, but it always, that when there is energy and when you meet up people and when we go together, the idea is to walk together on the same path together. So I would like to have some more interactive lessons so that, we are walking together. We can go through the process a little bit more together. So it's an idea, I'm putting it up. If people agree, then we can see how we can go about it.
You are not the first person that spoke of the importance of that interaction, which is why I sort of was trying, with the pandemic really gives us a lot of challenges. But I think in some ways there's sort of fortuitous opportunities, because if it weren't for the pandemic, we wouldn't have adapted in this way, and all of these international participants would probably have a more difficult time joining. So even though it's sort of harder to engage in person, I'm finding that it's easier to engage with people overseas or long distance away from me. And so it's interesting, the different shifts that I've been seeing in the pandemic. Anyways, that's sort of off topic, but the point is that the pandemic, if this had not happened, I would be in India right now and we would be facilitating workshops together. When we were originally designing this course, I had meant to come to India for about 3 months, possibly more, and there would be a whole campaign where we did workshops together and went to different school districts and facilitated all of these activities with teachers and parents and students. But alas, we're in different conditions worldwide right now. And so we're adapting as best we can. And that's how we designed the sort of self-paced online only platform. But I really, really want to consider ways that we could maybe create opportunities for people to meet together. Maybe if other participants are willing and interested and capable, maybe there could be some small groups that form regionally. So you could do a hike together on Saturdays or something like that. And we'll see the pools of students, where they're coming from and where there might be opportunities to create get-togethers. I know Vijeta has already sort of organized a few outings, or at least one walk with people. And I think that your facility with the nature kids is a great opportunity in southern India for any participants that are in that region. Perhaps you could coordinate some weekend get-togethers or things like that to start discussing or applying activities together. But thank you for bringing that to my attention. I'm going to really think about that and try to encourage opportunities in the weekly curriculums, and maybe we can officially schedule some things along the way as we get more, our list of participants or enrollees is a little bit more solidified this week. We can see where people are from and how we can create those activities for people. But I'll try to put as many opportunities to engage virtually together as well. Maybe if we did something every other week or at least monthly, that would be beneficial for everyone. So I'll try to gauge that with participants.
Yeah, it could be just reading together, going through the content together. Sometimes that also bonds people. And you have a better understanding when you read together. I'm reading, you're listening, somebody else is reading and I'm listening through. So at least we have a feel of walking together, going through the process together. That's what I meant.
Yeah, I like the idea of we could facilitate Zoom meetings where we share our favorite excerpts from the readings, and it could be kind of like a book club where we exchange ideas about what we're reading and what we liked or didn't like about the different readings. So that's a great idea. I like that.
Beautiful. So if there is something more, otherwise it's 7 p.m. and maybe considering the value of everyone's time and but we still have a minute just in case if someone wants to say something.
I just want to absolutely express my gratitude very quickly for all of the enthusiasm that I have received so far. When we bring this concept to people, I have not heard negative feedback so far. When we talk to people about this course, it's only been positive feedback, and it really encourages Ajay and I that this concept is very relevant right now and perhaps needed in the world. And so I really, I'm so grateful to be a part of this, and I'm really looking forward to learning from all of you as well.
Okay, now Fatima is asking, is there a direct link to Enroll? Fatima, that's what I was going to say, that you can enroll directly in the Western University website. We will maybe through cdyGL, or if you send me an email, because there are two kinds of registrations. One is that we are doing, Lizzy and I, because we are having the course material and we are sharing. So we would like to have a confirmation. We already have confirmations from some people, and we have already started to dispatch the course material to them. But for those who would like to register for this time, the course, if they can send a confirmation email or WhatsApp message, that would be great, either tonight or tomorrow, whenever convenient, so that we start the process. And then for the university, one can directly log on to the website that we have given in the overview. And Lizzy, is it easy for you to put it in the chat, the university website? Could you do that?
Yeah, give me 1 minute and I can drop that
yeah.
link in there too.
Yeah. So, and then, okay. Mr. Sanjay Mysurmat, he's saying that he was able to register as well. And just by a random state, choosing a random state. So it's working, it seems. Thank you, Sanjay. Thank you, Fatima.
So those are the two things I did. I mean, just otherwise I entered all my original information. Only the state and the PIN code. PIN code, I just removed one number from my PIN code. Phone number, I gave my 10-digit mobile number. So it was, it expects a 10-digit number.
Okay.
Otherwise,
One more question. If you have friend and family in America, so does it make sense to give their address so that and enroll from their address and PIN code says valid also, and address is also valid? Is that okay, or should we enter our own India?
So the address that you give to the university is likely where they're going to mail the certificate of completion. So I suppose it's up to you whether you'd like that. I think it would probably be the most convenient to just have it sent to your regular address as opposed to somewhere in the US and then sent again to you. So it'd be like mailed twice, basically. But so I would encourage you just give them your regular mailing address. That should be fine.
Okay.
maybe we can send an email later saying please note the complete address. And
corrected, because otherwise it will take the PIN code and the state PIN of America. Sure, thanks.
And also what we were talking about is in order to also give a further discount on the certificates of completion, if we can mail packets like multiple certificates of completion to the same address, and then you could distribute them to your participants or your group, then that would reduce the administrative costs of the mailing and the envelopes and stamps and things like that. So we could build in another discount into so if you have 3 or 4 or 5 people that want the certificates of the completion to the same address, we can give a discount for a few more dollars.
Okay, and just one sec. This Chakradharji, he is asking, Dr. Chakradhar is asking if registering through the university has a different cost perspective. So that's what we were trying to explain, sir, is that this time as an introductory course, as a co-creators course, we don't have to pay anything upfront. So that is waived. We can register for free. And then at the end of it, we are whatever is the common certification postage costs, that only we will have to. So I don't think per head it will cost us more than 500 rupees, something like that. I think even less. So we will just have to work it out with the university. So that's the only cost implication it seems for the whole course. Yeah, Anjana, you want to say something?
Yeah, just a suggestion, Lizzy, from my past experience, even before the pandemic hit, we used to get all the certificates, soft copy, which were digitally verified. So universities or any organization actually do not prefer to send the hard copy unless and until it is needed, because the soft copy is as good as a hard copy and it saves a lot of cost on the postal charges, etc. So because everybody would have given their email address, and that's the place where everyone's certificate can be reached. Regarding the mailing address, I didn't enter my full address. I just entered the street name, the basic detail they were asking, and the phone number, the 10-digit. Of course, that won't be tracked because I put up a different state. So they will use that state code to dial into my mobile number, and that will not be reachable then. So that's just a suggestion that maybe the email, the soft copy, which are digitally verified by the universities, can be a better medium for the certificates to be received.
Thanks for bringing that to my attention. That's a great idea. I will talk with Extended Studies about that, because I think that they could do that, and that would take the mailing fees off of that because it would go digitally. So that's a great idea. Thank you.
Yeah, actually, to add to that, a lot of courses in LinkedIn, they have such a mechanism where we actually can put the completion to the LinkedIn profile. So it can be downloaded and it has several options.
Well, I like these things, what is being suggested online, but I was wondering if we could have a little bit of a meeting on the final day, like a little bit of a certificate distribution, and get together, again, do a little meditation, maybe an official of the university or the Dean of Sustainability Studies could come and say a few words, hand over the certificates, even if digitally. So we should think of that, Lizzy, also in due course, because it would bring a personal touch. And after all, we are a mindfulness course, we are not just an
Yeah, I love the idea of like an award ceremony where we give out the certificates of completion. And I think, like you said, this isn't just mindfulness in our own heads, in our own bubble. We're trying to interact with the world and have an exchange. So that would be a great personal touch.
Okay, I think we should say thank you to all of you. And it's been such a wonderful feeling. Thank you so much. And please do send us a WhatsApp or a confirmatory email for those of you who have not yet registered and would like to. Okay. Thank you. Bye for now then.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Jessica, did you want to say a few last words? It looks like you're trying to say something.
Oh, okay, sure.
Who, me? No, no, no. I was saying thank you. I was just saying thank you. Yeah, yeah. Well, okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, Vijeta.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Class